Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon sets video, this time featuring Stantler. In today's video, I have two Stantler sets for you all, both of which make use of some more unique moves in Stantler's move pool. So let's get started like we always do by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Stantler is a mono-normal type Pokemon introduced in a Generation 2 and has always been seen as very unique in my eyes due to the fact that it has a very uncommon combination of offensive and support options that you don't really see too often on most Pokemon, especially a normal type. But as far as its abilities are concerned, the first one that Stantler gets is known as Intimidate, which is a very useful support ability that allows you to lower your opponent's physical attack by one stage every time you switch Stantler in, which could allow it to then take physical hits better, as well as allowing your teammates to take physical hits better if you bring in Stantler for the sole purpose of intimidating something and then switching out into a more reliable Pokemon to take a physical hit. As far as its next ability is concerned, it is known as Frisk, which is an ability that allows you to view your opponent's item every time you switch Stantler in, which could be very useful for gaining some information on what kind of items your opponent is holding. However, it is arguably the weakest of the three abilities that Stantler gets. And its last ability is known as Sap Sipper, which is a very great ability that allows you to not only gain an immunity to grass-type moves, but also receive a +1 attack boost every time your opponent uses a grass-type move against Stantler, which gives you a lot of opportunities to potentially switch in on a predicted grass-type move to receive a +1 attack boost every time. But as far as your stats are concerned, Stantler doesn't have too great defenses with only base 73 HP, 62 defense, and 65 special defense, meaning that more often than not, you're probably not going to be using Stantler as a defensive Pokemon. However, do keep in mind that if you do want to run max HP with max physical defense and the Intimidate ability, you could potentially use Stantler as a pretty good physical wall. However, there are a lot more Pokemon that do this better than Stantler would be able to, so it isn't recommended to use Stantler for this reason. As far as its attacking options are concerned, though, it has base 95 physical attack and base 85 special attack, meaning that you can run either a physical or special set on Stantler pretty effectively. It is important to keep in mind, though, however, that with its special attack, it doesn't have a reliable stab move like it would for its physical side of its move pool, because it does not unfortunately learn Hyper Voice, and Uproar, Swift, and Round really aren't that great options for attacking purposes, just because Uproar locks you into a move and Round and Swift are not very powerful. So if you do run a special attacking set, you will kind of have to use moves that are not stab, which is a little bit of a letdown, so that is something to keep in mind. However, for both of its offensive stats, it does have a couple of ways of boosting them. For its physical offense, you have Workup and Sap Sipper as its ability, and for its special offense, you have Workup and Calm Mind. So there are a couple of options of boosting both of those stats if you want to use it as either a physical or special attacker. And lastly, it does have a very nice base 85 speed, meaning that this Pokemon is on par with Pokemon such as Sawk and I believe Pinsir as well, meaning that this Pokemon could be very fast in the NU tier, which is where it is currently listed. However, you do need to keep in mind that this Pokemon will be outsped by a lot of other offensive Pokemon in the tier, so you definitely do not want to leave Stantler in on a potential fast and powerful attacker that your opponent may be packing on their team. But with that, let's just jump into the first set that I have for you in this video, which is a gravity-based set for Stantler. So for this set, we're going to begin by giving Stantler a Jolly Nature to increase your speed but lower your special attack, and for the ability, we're going to be going with Sap Sipper. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into our physical attack, 4 into our defense, and 252 EVs into our speed to give us our max attack and max speed possible with the Jolly Nature. And for the item, we're either going to go with a Life Orb or Leftovers. Life Orb obviously for added power, Leftovers for a little bit more survivability. But for the moves on this set, as I said before, this is a gravity-based set for Stantler. So the first move that we're going to use on this set is Gravity. And if you don't know how this move works, there are a couple of effects that occur once you use this move, but the two that we're looking at mainly for this set are the fact that it lowers your opponent's evasion to 60% of what it is, which allows inaccurate moves to have a greater chance to hit, and also the fact that it makes any flying types and levitators now able to be hit by ground type moves. So with Gravity, we're going to be wanting to go with Hypnosis, which is a very inaccurate sleep move. It only has base 60% accuracy. However, with Gravity up, Hypnosis is more often than not going to hit, which is really good because Stantler usually isn't seen as a Pokemon that can put Pokemon to sleep, but with Hypnosis and Gravity in combination with one another, you are very reliably able to hit a Pokemon with Hypnosis and put them to sleep which is really, really good for allowing you to gain an advantage on your opponent if you don't have another sleep inducer on your opponent's team, especially since, as I said before, you don't really expect Hypnosis to come from a Stantler. But for the other attacking options on this Pokemon, they're pretty standard on most Stantler sets, but these are the two best to use with Gravity. The first of which being Return, because that's obviously your most reliable stab attack. It's going to be your most powerful move that you're going to want to go for more often than not. But your next option is obviously going to be Earthquake, as you can see right there, which, as I said before, could work very well in combination with Gravity, due to the fact that any Levitators or Flying types, as I said before, can be hit by this move now because of Gravity being up, which means that a Pokemon such as Electros can now be hit super effectively, which normally wouldn't be the case. Also, a Pokemon such as Haunter could also be hit super effectively, which normally wouldn't be the case as well due to Gravity being up. But overall, this is just a really awesome set to use for Stantler that kind of makes use of some more unique moves in its move pool, and also could provide support to the rest of your team if you want to make a team based around Gravity. As for this next set, we're going to start by giving Stantler a Jolly Nature again, along with the Sap Sipper ability and the same EV spread. However, the only difference is that the only item we're going to use for this set is going to be Leftovers as a way to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. Now, while all of this is pretty much the same, the functionality of this set is completely different than the previous one. So the first move that we're going to go with is going to be Substitute, as a way to get behind a protective barrier to shield us from any unnecessary damage that we probably will not want to take, but to also work in combination with the secondary move on the set, which is going to be Disable. Now, most people don't even know Stantler gets Disable, and most people don't even consider a sub-disable user outside of Gengar or Haunter, but Stantler can actually do this extremely well, and it can do it in a particular way that no other Pokemon is able to do because of its Sap Sipper ability. Now, Stantler gets two immunities with Sap Sipper obviously giving you the Grass immunity, and its normal type giving you the Ghost type immunity, but the reason why having a Sap Sipper immunity, or the immunity with Sap Sipper with sub-disable, is that this set pretty much becomes a 100% counter to the majority of Grass types that you're going to run into in NU. Now, the reason why I say this is because most Grass types usually are of the support variant, or at least the majority of the ones that you run into, and they usually only pack one attacking move other than their Grass type attacking move, meaning that they'll use Giga Drain and then like Hidden Power Fire or Sludge Bomb or something else of that nature. So more or less, more often than not is what I meant to say, you're going to be able to substitute on the move that they're going to go for, that is their secondary attacking move, disable that, and now you have an opponent with a Grass type Pokemon in that cannot touch you because of the Sap Sipper ability. So this set is really freaking good for dealing with any Grass type. It pretty much counters every single one of them, and it'll also give you a +1 attack boost in the process if you can switch Stantler in on a predicted Grass move, which is actually pretty easy to do, despite the fact that you do have to do some prediction, but more often than not, you can probably assume when an opponent is going to use one and get the Sap Sipper boost from that. But again, with the set, we're going to be using Return and Earthquake as our two attacking moves of the set. They're the best moves to work in combination with one another for the type coverage that you get with them. But it is important to note that on this set, because we are not making use of Gravity, this set is completely walled by Pokemon such as Misdreavus and Haunter in NU. So it is a good idea to pack a Pokemon that can deal with both of those, such as a Skuntank, which can obviously Pursuit Trap them or deal some super effective damage with any of its other attacks, even with priority Sucker Punches and things like that. But overall, this set is just, as I said, a complete counter to Grass types, for the most part at least, and also can boost Stantler's attack while getting it behind a substitute, as your opponent has to switch out with their Grass type once their secondary attack option is disabled. But to kind of give you a demonstration of this, I have a clip of me using the set on Showdown against an opponent that pretty much demonstrates how effective this set can be if used properly. So to just kind of show you how I set up this situation, I protect here to verify the Primeape is going to go for a U-turn, and then switch out to my Samurott knowing he's going to U-turn out into his Vileplume, which will then give me the perfect opportunity to switch in Stantler to take the Sleep Powder and give me a +1 attack boost. Now he misclicked right there going for Giga Drain. It's not going to matter too much, and I'll explain why at the end. But either way, I get up a sub, and then he goes for Sludge Bomb, I disable that, and now he has to switch out because he doesn't have another attack. So I go for a secondary sub as he goes into Volbeat, but Volbeat cannot touch Stantler, so I'm free to just go for another return. He switches out actually there. But either way, goes into Camera up to now, Earthquake that, take that out, super effective obviously. Volbeat comes back in, he goes for Tail Go because he probably doesn't have another move to hit me with. I return that, Huntail comes in, I return that, take that out, and then lastly he has left only this Vileplume, which, funny enough, I get the effects bar right there and go to sleep when I take it out. But either way, that just kind of shows you how effective this set can be. Now, whenever you use this set, I do not expect you to sweep with it. That was just like a random occurrence that just kind of happened, so don't expect to sweep with this set. But it just showed you how I was in such an advantageous position after my opponent, or after I brought in Stantler on my opponent's Grass-type Pokemon, or his Vileplume in this situation, got up a sub, got up a free attack boost, disabled its other move, and then set up a sub when it had to switch out. Now, just to make sure that you know this, the +2 attack that I got when he misclicked did not actually matter. I would have actually one-hit KO'd everything else on his team, regardless of the fact of that occurrence. So just keep in mind that this only did not occur just because of the Giga Drain that he accidentally went for. I would have done this, the same situation would have occurred either way. So just keep that in mind for future reference. I only needed +1 attack to one-hit KO everything else on his team. But that is pretty much just showing you how effective that set can be when you can easily come in on a grass type and set up a sub, get up attack boost, and then proceed to hurt your opponent very hard with your return and earthquakes. And this set, along with the gravity one, are two really fun sets to run with Stantler, so if you have not tried this Pokemon, I suggest you start with either of those. They're very cool, and it really shows the uniqueness of this Pokemon, since both of the things that I showed you in this video are things that are almost exclusive to Stantler, at least exclusive to this Pokemon as a normal type, with its Sap Sipper ability and all of the other really good stuff that comes with using it. But anyways, that is it for this video, everyone. So as always, thank you for watching, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.